Welcome to my stealth spot. So I am here today at my new base camp. This is a stealth spot that I picked out, which is only conveniently a mile from my house. So I came out here earlier this week with some yard tools and cleaned it up. Got some widow makers out of the way and some dead branches. And we're just gonna set up here. So yeah, we're just gonna set up right here. It's a nice Friday. It's not gonna rain. I'm gonna do this as kind of a shakedown ride. I haven't had my tent out this year. Get that all ironed out. And the nice thing about being out so close to home, if things go sour or if things don't work out, I can pack up and I'm home probably in less than 10 minutes. So it's pretty convenient. So what is not convenient here, and if you don't hear it already, I'll show you. So what you're seeing right now is not actually walking trails. These are wild game trails made by the deer, who have pretty much carved out a spot in this little section that's over between residential areas, the city, and the highway. And that is what you're going to see right now. So just beyond this tree line right here is the highway, about 200 feet, and they're a little below, so it's not too bad. This isn't a nice quiet camp in the woods. The convenience is the closeness and the isolation, but this is not a nature, beautiful sounds of nature out here. So, but you can't have it all. So let's go set up. So before I start tearing everything apart, I wanted to first do a bike check. This is my 2022 Surly Ogre I bought brand new. This is my touring setup for this year. I did make some changes, and the first one is this rack. I think it's a Orion rack, I think it's called. And this is a walled 139 basket. And this has really been a game changer, not only with these big fat 29er tires, which are also new. I'll get to those in a second, but the width of this right here is my tent. This is my camping chair. I have little doodads of stuff I can put in here, and I still have plenty of rise. I'm not covering my light. And even if I cover it, I have an extra light right here. This is a utility light, which is insanely bright. But I can also put a light upside down so I don't have any shadow or anything like that. So for tires, I actually went tubeless this year. These are Terravale spar woods. They're a 29 by 2.2. They have a really nice tread for mixed use from gravel, dirt, road. And they're not too aggressive, but they have a really nice center tread. And I probably have a few hundred miles on these already, and they're actually really well set up. So this is my cockpit. I have the Jones H bars with the grips. Always go with the mirror when I'm riding in traffic. I got this Surly bag, I think it's 2 liters. I put my battery chargers in here for my phone. I use my phone for GPS and navigation. This is for my 360. I've got a light that also has a remote here, so I can actually flash my lights like in a car. I go with this is a Camelback, going with a 40 ounce on the top, and then I have an extra reserve on the bottom here for like dedicated water for camping, you know, like cooking and whatnot. Once I went to metal water bottles, I cannot go back. Sure, they're heavier, but drinking hot plastic water is such a morale killer that I like the extra cold. You can keep ice on these things all day. This bag, so I have this is a Brooks Cadmium, I think it is. C19, it's a little wider. This is the vulcanized rubber. So, you know, it's not like a leather Brooks. There's no break-in. and you can get this thing wet. It's really good for all weather. This is just my tool bag. I do have a spare tube, even though I'm tubeless. Tools, tire levers, the rear rack. So right now there's nothing back here. I bought an extra net. So if I'm riding on the trails, I don't need a helmet. I only ride at like 10, 12 miles an hour. There's people that run faster than I ride. I can throw the helmet back here. If I have extra food or whatever, I can put on the net. So I'm riding with the Ortlieb bags. So they're, I think, what are they, 20 liters. They're basically bomb-proof. They're pretty much a well-known bag to go with. The downside is these here are great if you're on the road because they're reflective. Not so bueno when you're trying to stealth camp and you have your bike leaned against a tree like this. Any type of light this reflects, it'll give away where you're at. So yeah, that's the Ogre. She is a chonker. She's a tank. She's heavy. She's not going to win any land speed records, but I've done over 100 miles in a day, averaging between 10 to 12 miles an hour. But I ride like from 10, 12 hours a day, and I'm fine. Don't have any type of issue with my back. The handlebars give you plenty of room so you can adjust. You're in a nice upright position. The saddle is comfortable. I mean, for me, it works. So, I stopped at Autos. I got a tarp. This is a 10 by 14. $10. I'm gonna try to set up a tarp across these trees. I don't have much options, so I'm just gonna try to set something up. Well, it looks like the deer might want some of their paths back, but there are plenty. There are tons of little paths weaving throughout all here. He really is curious. He doesn't seem to be afraid of... Oh, we have two. Okay, there are now 4 of them. I stand corrected, there are now 5 of them. Well, they heard something, not from me. They kept actually getting closer, and they bounced. So they'll be back. I think that's probably where I want to put it. That's the 2 like most reliable trees that I feel safe attaching to. It works. It'll hold a tarp. So this isn't too bad. This is a start. I haven't figured out what I want to do, but I can just make a teepee, just something to put my tent under. And I have a small bivy tent, so it's really not that a huge thing to deal with. Going to make myself some steaks. Nothing too crazy. Almost there. Well, this is just kind of what I set up. Of course, it's not windy out, otherwise this thing would be stupid loud and I wouldn't be able to get any sleep anyway. But I made a some stakes tied off to a couple trees. Obviously, if it's not going to rain. So obviously this would just pool full of water and then just totally drip. But it's mild weather. Come on, man, it's a fort. How can you say don't enjoy having a fort in the woods? This is great. So this is my gear top bivy tent. This is really good for stealth camping. I mean, it's not super light. This tent's probably like $100. It's really good for stealth and just setting up really quick because it has a low profile. It's camo, but it has pretty much no room. In fact, it has so little room you have to get out of your tent just to change your mind. Let's set it up. So I did get the ground sheet that goes for the tent in footprint. It has kind of these two, it's not freestanding, so you do have to stake it to the ground. It does take a lot of stakes, like maybe a dozen, but it just has these two supports. But I think like the not so great thing about this, it does come with a lot of stakes. It has to be really tied down. And I kept losing stakes, so I just painted them all white. He took care of that problem. So after you get the poles in, you do need to stake the front and the back to kind of give it its rigidity for its top. So you just want to pull like this. That gives you your rigidity, and you have to then do the back. So I forgot on this side to do the back is actually on the rain fly. The rain fly connects and then goes back here, but actually this, I'm glad I did this shakedown. I'm not under any pressure. I can take my time because I did make a couple mistakes. I know this isn't the best way on, but that's the whole point, is to figure this stuff out now and not when you're like 100 miles from home. You can get in and out at both sides. It has plenty of ventilation. You can sit up in it, but it's really just for setting up and sleeping. You're not gonna be hanging out in here, having parties. It's basically like a giant mummy sleeping bag style tent, but it does have a low profile. So now we gotta set up the chair. I always like bringing a camping chair with me. This is a nature hike. It is a YL05. Is what this is. I think I paid maybe less than 40 bucks for this chair. It's easy to set up, it's lightweight, and it works. It takes a lot of like pressure off your back. You can elevate your legs, and you just set up with the poles. So let's do that real quick. Luxury. Yeah, this is good. It immediately pays itself off the moment you sit in this thing. It's worth the wait. It's worth the room. It's worth setting up. After a long day, just sitting in a chair is just perfect. All right, it's time for air mattress setup. I use this Trekology UL80. It's not super expensive. It's obviously not the lightest, but it's really comfortable and it has a really nice loft on it, especially if you're a side sleeper. But the one thing I do bring is this Ettenwolf. I got this a year ago. This helps inflate your mattress. The reason why you want to do this, it is a little bit of extra weight, but you're not blowing, humidity and hot air into these things. And so you're not going to get like the mold and the bacteria buildup and all that. It blows it up really quick. And this also doubles as a fire starter. You can just hook this thing up and start a fire. It's pretty convenient and it has light. So that took about 20-25 seconds. I'm not exhausted and out of breath. Just pop it in, set it and forget it. Then for the inflatable pillow, I got this right here. This is really nice because it has this soft material and the strap so it doesn't go sliding around on your mat. That's it. You have two sides. You kind of like this mattress canvas side, and then you have a cool side. So this by far is the cheapest of my gear. This is an absolute piece of crap sleeping bag. This is just for summer sleeping. I wouldn't even go down to below 60, 55 degrees with this thing. It's nice because it's a really good compression and you can really get this thing locked down and compressed. But this is a piece of crap sleeping bag. But I only really mainly camp in the summer and I like to layer up. I mean, it works, but if I have to replace something, it's definitely going to be this piece of crap sleeping bag. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Now we can relax. So now that I'm all set up, I can actually relax. And this is really good to set something up like this before like a tour, doing a shakedown ride, making sure everything on your bike is correct in terms of the balance, where you put things, how you pack and unpack, where you need to have easy access to stuff like maybe to a layer, a raincoat, some food or snacks. You can plan as much as you can at home, but unless you really go out, all the gear, everything, and you don't have to go out for a long distance. You really have to get yourself rooted into the mindset of being on the road for a day to like a multi-day tour. And just setting something up like this, it gives me time to just take a break, look at things. I'm not racing against, the light of day. I don't have to worry about, I'm not exhausted after a long day's ride. I can just slow things down a little bit, see how things are set up. So when it comes to the real deal, I'm not, fumbling or bending or breaking anything. And it's just that one little extra thing that helps just drop the stress levels down a little bit, because there's a lot going on when you bike tour. Both physically and mentally, you're out riding, you're very much exposed to all the elements, and you kind of really have both skill and experience on dialing in things that you feel you need to do, either improving your, physical ability on riding. So I'm an avid rider. I ride year round, so that's kind of one thing I don't have to focus on. But one thing I do have to focus on is camping, setting up, you know, in all types of weather conditions, be it windy or rainy, or even in pitch black in the dark. I might not make it to a place until it's dark or it's raining. It's not going to be perfect weather. So it really does help to do a shakedown ride, especially if you haven't bike packed in a while, or you've made lots of major changes to either a gear or a different bike, or if you haven't bike packed in a while, you just got to hone your skills. You can be a little rusty. So a couple people in the last few videos I did stealth camping, I had people tell me I was not stealth camping because I wasn't in a tent. I don't exactly know what their definition is of stealth camping. Without looking up, you know, like a definition online, I'll kind of run down what I consider stealth camping. You know, what it is, why you do it. So for me, there's wild camping, you know, like if you're way out in, you know, BLM land or in the country where there's just nothing around for miles and it's just open area you can camp. Stealth is more indicating in areas where there's more of a population, like if you're in a city or a suburb like I'm in. And for me, stealth is pretty much camping in an area that is not designated for or is not allowed for camping. So for example, at a park, a lot of parks are closed after dark. You know, they're open, you know, from dawn to dusk. So you're not only not supposed to be in the park after dark, you shouldn't be camping. And also, you know, for me, stealth camping is doing so in a location that's not only not designated or camping's not allowed, but you're doing so in a place where the person who either owns the land or people are not aware, don't have the knowledge, or you do not have the consent to camp in a place that's not intended for camping. So you can do it like on a farmland, I'm in a little patch of land between neighborhoods and a busy highway behind me. The best places I like to stealth camp are in areas that no one knows or no one cares about. All over the country, and you'll see this as you're out riding, I like to play this little mini game where I look out for stealth spots when I'm out riding. I look for these little places I call dog patches. They're these little pieces of land that no one cares about. They're a little piece of woods or something. It's not like it's on someone's property within, you know, a close proximity of their house or a line of sight from a building that they own. It's not like you're camping on this beautiful beach vista where there's people out. You're basically just camping in just this little section of land. There's these little pieces of land, these little bits of woods that no one cares about. They walk or ride or drive past them all the time. And that's, for me, where you want to camp. Where no one knows you're there and no one cares. And there are a few exceptions I make for camping. Obviously, for stealth, if there's a no trespassing sign, I will obviously respect that. You don't want some Farmer John coming out with this shotgun. You give him more an excuse if he catches you camping on his land. I don't like to camp near houses. I don't like to impede on people's personal or private property. I just want to go full ninja, go in, set up, get to sleep, and get out the next morning. So what's all included in stealth camping? So not only, this is kind of another subject. Stealth camping, you're really just going in to sleep at night and you're out the next day. You're not going to set up an elaborate cook system or have a big campfire or a party and all these lights. You just need a place to lay your head at night. You might not have the funds or the availability to go to a campground. You know, campgrounds, they pack people in like sardines. You've got kids screaming, babies crying, dogs barking all night a day. And to me, that's not fun. Now, sure, you have amenities like, you know, running water and electricity, and it is nice to socialize with people. And hotels, they're great. Getting a hot shower, wash your clothes, get a nice soft bed, some air conditioning in the summer. But even hotels are expensive. And there are just some nights where you don't need a campground, you don't need a hotel. You just need a place that's very close proximity of where you're at, so you don't have to go out of your way. Set up camp, usually, ideally, and this is all opinion based, you want to do, you know, go in right before dark, usually like less than an hour before dark. Set up, go to sleep, and get up, you know, pre-dawn ideally, or dawn. Pack up, get out, leave absolutely no trace, no trash. You know, we're not a bunch of punks. And you just want to basically have a place to lay your head for the night. And stealth camping, there's so many degrees and ways you can do it. It's a kind of a taboo subject. You know, you're out, you're illegal, you're supposed to be somewhere you're not supposed to be. I don't see it as that big of a deal, especially if you're genuinely doing this as a legit, you know, you're not out to cause trouble. You just want to camp. I mean, people have the right to travel, at least here in my country. In the US, you have the right to travel, and part of traveling is sleeping. And I don't feel like you have to get a campground or expensive hotel every night. There is literally just millions of these little parcels of land all over the world that no one's utilizing. Just set up a quick camp in it. And so for me, that's my kind of idea of stealth camping. So I know some content creators, and I've watched them, doing stealth alone is just not that exciting. You have to mix things in. You know, some people cook or do some elaborate setup. You know, either they're trying to set up in a really unique spot, like behind a billboard, or in a park really close to proximity. You know, there's kind of the danger element, and all that is great. There's really just no wrong way, I feel like, to stealth camp. I think the only wrong way is if you get busted, and no one wants that. So you do you, and if you like what I do, then thank you. If not, then make your own videos and show us how you stealth camp, because I would be curious. So for those of you who watch my content, next weekend, which would be this next Friday from the time I'm making this video, it's going to be Memorial Day, and I plan to do a bit of a tour. I'm going to be doing a hobo bike tour, and what that exactly is, I'll give you a bit of preview. Is I'm basically going to leave out of my driveway, get on a rail trail. I'm planning to do the North Coast Inland Trail, and it follows an active rail line. And just like a hobo, I'm going to see where the rails take me. I'm going to sleep just off alongside the tracks and visit the railroad towns. So I don't really have any plans. Um, it is literally just roll out of my driveway and see where the rails take me. And once those run out, I will kind of invent a way back. So I'm just going to relax and let the day finish out and wait for it to get dark. And I'm going to hunker down and get some sleep. If anything exciting happens, I'll record it. Otherwise, we'll see you in the morning. Good night.
Well, good morning. I slept absolutely wonderful. I actually had to go back home right before dark. I looked at the low temperatures and I really was underdressed, so I went and got a sweatshirt and a coat and a little heavier set of clothing just to keep you warm, because this is a summer sleeping bag. And I didn't get chilly. It was a bit cool, but other than that, man, this was beautiful. So no animals at all, like absolutely nothing woke me up. So I didn't even get out of the sleeping bag or the tent last night. So I call this an absolute success.
All right, I am all set up and ready to roll. So that'll be kind of a bit of a base camp since it's so close to my house. I am going to lower this tarp though, just to keep it low profile. And come back and just visit this place if I want to chill. So thanks for watching.
With only hearts in this house.